Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reacts, where today we have ourselves a track from an act named Testimony of Apocalypse titled Lost to the Flame. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track on the screen on YouTube, the lyric video for it. This is off of their upcoming album, their third album, titled Agony in the Garden, due for release on Halloween 2025. And we're going to listen through this track from start till finish and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go, let's do it. What have we got? I'm liking the sound design with the slow build there on the sides. And how it goes between the sides. I like how the rhythm of the guitars remains consistent with the riff, but the drums are doing a lot of different types of movements and speeds with their various kick, cymbal, and snare patterns. It's nice to have the variation there. I mean, the video is quite disconcerting with how the facial features continue to change. It works to the aesthetic. Phenomenal display there with the solo. Is that it? Crazy how that just flew by that way. Rocks Records. Very different vibe to the end of it, but that's okay. And we got the website there at the end. I'm wondering if that's meant to say .com there, but I'm not sure. Either way, fantastic song. We're going to talk about it more in the conclusion. So welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named Testimony of Apocalypse, titled Lost to the Flame. Now, what do we think this track is about. So I think that this track is about the battle between heaven and hell. It's really vivid. There is a lot of really descriptive words used to elicit an imagery, and I think the music video goes alongside that. There's a nice connection between those two. It's really intense subject matter that I think is going to appeal to people regardless of whether they're simply listening to it for the metal element or if they're behind the more sort of like spiritual elements of it, or both. You know, I just think it's nice to have a couple of niches adhered to at the same time. They talk about his kingdom in ashes and stuff like that, and it just does seem like a horrific scene. And I feel like if I had more time listening through it, I'd be able to get the whole context within a few listens, just because there's quite a lot going on within the piece to absorb, you know. I think if I was to talk about a few things that I thought were done well with this track, the first would be the structure of it. So it was really cool to have the first part of the song kind of almost seem like the army coming up to the gates, kind of rising upwards with a mixture of filtering, with a mixture of the different instrumental takes coming upwards, with the things going from side to side, almost like it's about to erupt. And then for it to lead into everything else after that, which is kind of that tension boiling over. And there's lots of different sections with like verse and chorus sections, I suppose, though, but we don't ever sit on one idea for too long. We're very sort of attentive with our transfers and the listener's attention. We don't want to take it for granted. There are, you know, that intro part where things were building was a solid 30 seconds of this 4-minute song, or this 3-minute 45 track, but I feel like it was great use of real estate there, simply because it adjusts, and because you've had no idea what you're up for until that point in time, it's not predictable. There's lots of normal time and double time and like even halftime grooves with the kit and the mixture of different guitar riffs and bass lines, with the vocals rolling along with those rhythmically. So you have differentiation of the pace of the piece. And we also have extended like guitar solo section near the end there, which is very colorful in the mid to upper register, and it's just a nice contrasting lead to a lot of the growled and sort of like fry or kind of coarser oriented vocals that are throughout the predominant amount of mix. So I feel like structurally it's intriguing, it's invigorating, and I think that it represents the intensity of what they're discussing within the lyrics. I think it is also the guitar performance in general. I mean, there's a lot that I appreciate about the song. I'll mention a few notable mentions near the end without going too much into those, but I think that the guitarists throughout this, you have some really funky, curious ideas that both enforce the minor leaning towards this, whilst adding some Phrygians or like, you know, flat seconds or more exotic harmonic or melodic minors, whether in the rhythm or the lead elements. And you have a dexterous performance across the board that sounds nice and heavy, whilst, you know, being attentive of the speed that the drums are going, whilst also, you know, when it's got its own time to shine, it does soar upwards, and there's a lot of sweep picking and tremolo and sort of shred there, but a lot of it, it's incredibly melodic and it's tasteful. It's not deliberately trying to play fast for the sake of it. There's a sense of purpose to a lot of the passages there. There are individual concepts that go between each other. And, you know, like for example, there's like an almost sort of blast beatish kind of section there where that is more sort of like intense. So the guitar parts speed up on their end, and you've got like 16 triplets or something like that. And you're kind of working with some neoclassical elements with the scaling there, which is a nice sort of combination. Neoclassical elements with metal shred on top of that kind of sort of minor orient. It just sounds phenomenal. And so you've got a nice sort of awareness of our place and purpose within the mix, whilst also adhering to the chord progressions, bass lines and bass notes, etc., and rhythmically being attuned to what the drum's doing. So the guitar parts in general, whether they are breakdowns or pinchies, harmonics, where there are sort of single script or single string kind of ideas there to have more of a sort of a pep to it, and lots to appreciate. And I think it is also the tightness of the drum performance as well there. We're very sort of explorative with the kit there. We don't just rely on our kick, snares, and sort of hi-hat cymbal patterns with occasional crashes there. We have a lot of different double kick patterns there, whether they're sort of 16th or maybe 16th triplets there to suit the phrasing rhythmically of like some of the lead guitar parts. We know how to go halftime for some breakdown bits, which again, having a rhythmic unison between parts of a track allows it to be heavier than it would be if things were discombobulated. And it's also allowing sort of notes from the vocalist or like chants or like sort of like lyrics to have space because of not overloading or overwhelming certain parts there. Even though it's a ferociously heavy song, there are some elements there where you get a little bit of respite from the kind of fervor that you get in other bits. But I think generally across the board, we're tight in terms of our tempo, as well as, again, the faster sort of like syncopated kick snare patterns and like the blast beats and such is awesome there. We were attentive with the ride bells and a little bit of air candy on the kit as well when we needed to be. And it was just a really satisfying piece to listen through in general. I think that the guitar, drums and the structure are the highlights for me. I feel like the bass is played very well, and I think the vocalist as well. The tone and texture of their voice suited the track to a T. It's just those are my three sort of main parts. In terms of constructive critique, I don't really think anything needs to be adjusted within this. I feel like typically it's got enough variety compositionally to be intriguing the entire time. And I feel like if you're familiar with Testimony of Apocalypse's work, this is a continued sort of march in the right area. But I think that some of the highlights, such as, again, that intro kind of building up like that and that intensity there, especially this being the third single off of the album so far, it's just great to have that many songs they have that confidence in. But ultimately, yeah, stellar around, no complaints to your production either. That's commercial grade. Yeah, I wish them the best of luck for the release, because thank you for watching my review of this track from an act named Testimony of Apocalypse titled Lost to the Flame, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show them some love via the various social medias and the various linked trees and YouTube pages, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next SB Reacts. Spiderhands out.